commit on the side of an urban environment that you want to send in.
Look at everybody.
That is one hell of a shift. Let's go. Mad Max on the road.
Look at everybody just shifting down. So many names, so many teams. Everybody's like, oh, wait a minute. We were not prepared for this. And, well, Alter Egos will take over the right-hand side. And now the gunshots start to fly. Power, by the way, does have a hovercraft. And, well, Rico says, I want to try and take it out if I can. Gamix struggling so much. They're only at 6 points. They've already lost a player. But where they are currently at, maybe, just maybe, they can get a couple of shots and take down some stragglers from other rosters rotating in.
I'm looking at Weibo Gaming right now. They've taken an interesting approach to this one. They've sent all the way out on that western bridge to Sosnovka Military Island. They're currently rotating on the north side of the military base. They're going to be coming through on that bridge, so potentially a little bit of a wild card in play here. They could go for an aquatic approach to the mainland too.
Looking at Alpha 7 rotating down. Ida just next to him. R8's going to be onto the backside of Revo. That's going to be tightly contested depending on where they decide to stay. I expect Alpha 7 to hug the edge of the zone, which is what they're very, very comfortable with doing. But I agree with you, Weibo, loving it. We do have AXTMG rolling up. We got Falcons on your screen. Narvalo looking to put in a little bit of work. Henry cooking a nade, so you have to assume this fight most likely is going to be going down. You want to take out AXTG. You have Strex, who's already going to be out of the way. Narvalo repositioning. This fight may be disengaging. Falcons might want to get out of here. AXTMG says, come back. We actually want to fight this. We're ready.
I mean, this is the scrap for the shelter area, for the hill that overlooks Milta, and access towards places like the roadblock that sits on the northwest side of Milta. So potential to get a lot from this position, but as soon as it's contested, it gets sluggish, it gets slow. And it looks like these two teams are going to divide themselves from one another and just stay at arm's length. So survival definitely at the forefront of their minds.
Something to think about in the future. Weibo, we did compliment that they were on the military side. If they do have to go up towards mainland, look at that bridge now. You've got IG, who's just next to it. You got Kinotrope as well, who's going to be at the forefront of the eastern side bridge. That's not going to be easy, and I don't think they're going to have a hovercraft, if I'm not mistaken. Team starting to settle down a bit. The Mad Max rotation, as you said it, and you called it, starting to cool off just a little. Falcons still 4-man unit, despite them running into AXTMG just a little bit earlier. You have Thunder Talk, who's a bit split, but they're at the moment, at least currently fine. Gamix has refused to move from their central position, and Suck is going across the bridge. He's the tip of the spear now for Weibo, and I hope he's not biting off more than he can chew, because Kinotrope is right there.
He's got that east side, right? There's a couple of those rocks that you can stay on. They're going for that scouting position, a shift out to the west, and they're going to be happy that they've now got that foothold. You're going to see the rest of Weibo now looking to regroup, spread out along that coastline. It's difficult because there are going to be players in Milta, and those angles start to get covered off on the position on the east side of the exit from the bridge from Weibo. They're going to have to try and find something. There are some options as well to the western side. Obviously, you've got the gas station just as you come out. Yep. It's pretty difficult to get in towards that, though, uncontested, especially with how ram-packed this circle is right now above them.
Well, good news for them. IG does decide to rotate in towards the northern side, Kinotrope as well. But when you do hug the edge of this this water side, you know you're going to be taking some shots, not only across the way, but as soon as you peek your head at the top, it's most likely going to get popped off. I mean, Kinotrope, great example. They've been looking to gatekeep unintentionally. They didn't know about it, but they knew there was going to be a team most likely coming across that bridge. And once they see it, it's Kinotrope who's just absolutely ready for it. Ida, however, is set up still quite nicely. And I think for them, especially R8, AXTMG, going to rotate straight into them. I think this might be a big game from Ida if the zones continue to bless them.
I'm feeling for Alpha 7 right now as well. Over on that northern side, they're having to push out into the blue. We'll see where they try and wrap around. It could be a long sweep out to the west and push in behind Intense Game. We'll have to see, because they've just actually disappeared north from our map feed. And of course, you guys can check out the map feed over on the YouTube channel. Make sure you're checking that one out to make sure you're up to date, seeing where everyone's going at all times. Alpha Gaming losing Doc, though. That's in a fairly pivotal position. That's over in Milta, as Thunder Talk are going to look to push across.
Yeah, Thunder Talk getting active. Good to see that from them. They've obviously been a very talented roster towards the top echelon when it comes to this group. Anyways, at 50 points, a very realistic option and chance for them to break into top 8. Squashes down to the zone. Mafioso takes down Ralph from Falcons as they do get active. We talked about them having to rotate far up north. Taking down Falcons here would be big for them. Obviously, Alpha 7 still wants to be the champions once again. Taking down the home team this early on, stopping them and stopping their chances essentially after game 2 for top 8 would be massive.
This is so nasty for Falcons. They managed to get that first knock. They do a lot of damage, but now Redox is isolated. Novalo's isolated. Koa's out in the middle of nowhere comparatively. He's over the road, back where we saw them before, up towards that hillside. And they're taking these slow 1v1s. Alpha 7 committing 2 to a single engagement is what has turned the tides here. Sure, they've lost Squash, but they are now descending, and they've got 2 players in. Novalo, surely there's no chance as Mafioso descends. It's Carrillo who draws first blood, Revo who puts him down, and Redox turns his tail and runs.
Yeah, he's gone, he's out. He's going to go ahead and join his teammate just off to the left-hand side and try and lock down this house. If Falcons now pushes into where Redox as well as his teammate is currently at, it's not going to be an easy rotate for them, I am sure of it. We have another zone shift. Weibo once again has to relocate and go to the north, but this time it's going to be the most difficult rotation they have had yet because Kinetrup already had them on their radar. APG was also looking directly at them. And now I'm glad to see R8 on the screen because they were just like Alpha 7 earlier, rotated way north through shelter, came back down, and now they look to challenge Alpha 7. But it's not a real challenge. You can't break into that hardcover POI unless you crash in, and that's almost a death sentence. So I think for them, yeah, they're going to go ahead and rotate and find a better option.
The good thing for R8 is they don't necessarily need to crash. Alpha 7 need to leave. Not necessarily immediately, but they can send on in. Oh, but they want to crash anyway. They're sending on through. Looks like Prestige. Oh, he's got himself an AWM there. We'll be able to hunt some heads, I hope, in the coming moments. But they're coming up against Nongshim Red Force, who of course won that Sandhawk. They're coming off fresh from a chicken dinner.
But I am happier with this crash as opposed to what maybe they were thinking about with Alpha 7. Alpha 7, though, still could play an impact from a distance as they do have that high ground. So you're in the shed, through the doorways, you overexpose yourself, you take a lot of damage, and that only helps Nongshim Red Force in this scenario. Rosemary opposite of King, and he's dipping. Question is, can he get away, and can Moana help him from a distance?
He's got that cover around the sidelines there. I think Moana's going to be able to hold his nerve. That buggy eating a lot of the damage from behind. The spray downs there, and Thunder Talk pulled up quite a lot, and they will be slow now as the circle puts pressure on. Are they going to chase, or are they going to try and keep things together and go for a different approach? Meanwhile, Alter Ego trying to push over towards AXTMG as they disengage from Thunder Talk. They put themselves into another sightline, and it will be on this top side of the hill. The nade in from Krypton, but no one's going down just yet.
They've got to make a decision. If you're Alter Egos, you've got AXTMG to your north, you've got Thunder Talk to your south, you've got to crash in on one, and it looks like it's going to be AXTMG. If you can disengage from this, you just got to full send it directly into the middle of the zone. Depot T cannot take down Rosemary. Mind you, update, we do lose intense game. Our first team, by the way, with how chaotic these zones have been, I am surprised we are just now losing only one team. Back on board with Henry, up close, he goes down. Alter Egos need this win. They need to recover from the rough game number 1 that they had, and they're doing exactly that in sensational style.
They slipped the pin, and Alter Ego managed to get around to the other side of AXTMG. With Rosemary down, another as well, down on bended knee. They'll need to try and pick it up, and of course they can. It's Alter Ego, but can they get Rosemary back in time? Because Thunder Talk are following in their footsteps.
Thunder Talk, like you said, right behind them. They were going to pincer in Alter Egos when they were opposite of AXTMG. But now Alter Egos can put their full focus on the Jing as well as the entirety of Thunder Talk. Taking them down within control. They would monopolize the entire northern side of the current zone, which would be massive for them. But this isn't going to be an easy fight. Nades are already coming out. Thunder Talk is taking the first shots. Krypton takes a bit of damage. You got vehicles to disengage, but Thunder Talk really can't go anywhere. They are forced to fight.
4 players still alive though, which means that they do have a shot here into this engagement. Alter Ego looking to keep this pressure up. Are Ida going to try and chime in? I don't think they're going to want to leave their position right now.
No.
A little bit closer down towards Milta. Next circle is going to come on through, and it goes a lot more central. So Ida definitely not wanting to flex out at this stage. Gamax very happy. I'm looking at E-Arena as well in the middle of this one, having a good time. I think Power, they'll be able to survive. I'm not expecting them to be able to get up towards these hills. But then again, and this is going to sound mean, it's Gamax in their way, so it might be a little bit easier.
Might be a little bit easier, you're right. And Gamax hasn't moved, by the way. That's been one of their things that's hurt them so much, is their inability to make a conscious decision of, this is what we need to do. Let's make an effort. Let's push up. But granted, I will say they've been center zone. Where they're currently at and how they're playing is not bad according to how the zone currently looks, because theoretically everybody's going to have to rotate into them into center. So maybe they could pick up more eliminations in the future. But right now at 6 points, you got to think teams are most likely going to bully them and push in. For Thunder Talk, AE, they have to push out, and Alpha 7 is also skirting around relatively close to their vicinity, and once again, Alter Egos might be getting pincered, but this time between Thunder Talk and Alpha 7, so taking down Thunder Talk now is imperative.
It's not a full threat from Alpha 7 though. Only a few of them moving in, and that's going to allow Krypton to be unleashed, and Thunder Talk, they have no chance. This guy is insane on a swivel, finding 1, finding 2, the rest of the team with a volley of fire, and the E-limbs just keep coming. Alter Ego now up to 7. That first game, forget about it. Eyes on Erangel.
And you know what? That's impressive and going to be a massive talking point going into the final stages, because Alter Egos, they can take a bad game and a terrible loss and then turn it around the very next games, which shows composure, shows tenacity, and shows their ability to keep their head in the game despite potentially going through struggles. That's how you become a champion, and I'm calling it early. Alter Egos might very well be in the top 3 running. We look at E-Arena now, Alpha 7. We haven't seen Alpha 7 get active for just a little bit. The last time was against Falcons. This time we've got an opportunity against E-Arena, and Alpha 7 should win this with the utility being thrown and the early damage being affected. Joker is feeling it. Alpha 7, you know them. They're going to want to push this as aggressively as they can.
It feels like this may be their final rotation of the game. They've moved into the roadblock, and they're just trying to survive now, try and outlast these teams. Sure, they can get these nades. I don't imagine that they have the presence, the pressure, with 3 players alive to go for a full push here. They might be able to pick up some E-limbs, sure, but it's R8, I think, who are going to be able to earn the lion's share of this engagement, of this push towards E-Arena.
Yeah, R8's going to be just behind him. Gamex does have an opportunity potentially to fire some shots. I think they've got to keep their heads down, though, because you have Alter Ego Ares, who is firing down on Gamex's position. But here is R8. You mentioned them now pushing in. You got to feel bad for E-Arena. They're between R8, they're between Alpha 7, and they're all huddled within the same location, which makes nades and utility that much more effective. For Alpha 7, though, they continue to bunker down where they are currently at. They do not want to move, and I think this is an opportunity where Gamex, because can't they peek them, if I'm not mistaken, from their location?
It's difficult. There's a little bit of cover. The terrain does give you some cover off. Obviously, Carrillo has the terrain of the actual roadblock itself, of the checkpoint, to play cover towards Gamax. It's just about covered off, and that is a disadvantage of playing on this checkpoint, is that it is a bit of a dearth of information, because you don't have sight lines towards a lot of positions. You're playing, obviously, you know there's a team above you, you've taken fights with them, you're going to hear these gunshots, but you're not going to be able to scope people out. You're not going to be able to take shots. You're not going to be able to suppress a lot of the area around you. That's why I said earlier, it felt like a final rotation for Alpha 7, especially as a 3-player team. I just don't expect them to be leaving this location. The question is, what can they earn from it?
Well, so R8 has made a decision. They're rotating out. They might be giving up this fight between Alpha 7 and E-Arena. Maybe ID comes back into the fold, but I think for them, taking the northern side, maybe challenging the weaker force of Falcons. I say weaker only because they're down to a duo. Meanwhile, R8 still a 4-man unit would be powerful. For E-Arena, they've got the hard cover, but now they've got to push into Alpha 7. This isn't going to be easy for E-Arena. You got R8 still behind you with a couple of stragglers who are just keeping you uncomfortable. Alpha 7 in front of you. If E-Arena makes it out of this, there's no way that they lose this game. If they do make it out unscathed, that is, but I expect them, even if they do win it, they're losing at least 2 or 3.
I mean, Alter Ego, though, still there. That's going to be one hell of a hurdle to cross. They're already up to 11 E-limbs, by the way. R8 trying to make their approach, and E-Arena will go 1-for-1 on the trade. Ida has to back up. And look for the res here. Prestige not going to waste any time. A big nade coming through from Mormon, though, and that's going to change the tide of things. Prestige needs to commit, needs to get some damage here. Looks good with the arc. Is he going to be able to connect too much more? The reses are coming through for RA, and they're keeping the pressure up, but the res comes through, and now 4 players still stand for E-Arena. The nade, again, not connecting.
I am shocked. E-Arena has 4 players up, and they're actually doing a ton of damage to RA. Prestige from a distance. Hill makes it so awkward, he can't even get up. You got Outbriefus from APG, who might be on the backside. I think he's thinking about it. Okay, do I have clear line of sights? If I do, I'm taking him, and that's going to be all on RA. And actually, here he goes, getting active, and this could help E-Arena so much.
They've managed to find that first and an immediate flush. R8 not in a position. They were almost committed to that push. Every focus was on the E-Arena compound. This Alpha Gaming flex out, I mean, it was a risk, but it's paid off beautifully. Alpha 7, are they trying to look for a move?
Looks
no,
like
I don't think so. Not just yet, but Carrillo's sending nades on in. They're keeping the pressure up on the other side of this engagement.
This is messy. This is chaotic. The winner of this fight could very well go on to win game number 2 Erangel of the day. The Alpha Gaming has moved even further up. They're taking the forward position. E-Arena now has a couple of players who are down. 2 players to stand up. Carrillo, he wants to push up. He wants to at least get a line of sights on any stragglers who peek their head over the corner. Prestige finally moving in. He's been waiting to do this for the longest time. A nade's being cooked. He swings the angle. He gets the drop, but it's not done just yet. E-Arena fights back through the window. R-Raider down. It's down to Marth, who hits the shotgun shot through the doorway, though. Clutching up is our boy Mormon from E-Arena. But now, is this the time where Alpha 7 enough says enough is enough? We know you're weak. We're taking you down.
They don't have the pressure, and that's the disadvantage of this location. They are just hiding here. They don't have the time or the angles to push up towards it. Fortunately, they don't have to, because the circle is going to force E-Arena over towards them. They have got that top shot going over their heads from Gamax to suppress E-Arena's rotation, and even further behind them, Alter Ego have those shots. It's going to make E-Arena's approach really, really difficult. Power trying to leave Milta as well. The options are shutting down now for E-Arena.
Hovercraft for power, by the way. They still have it. We'll keep that in mind. That's going to be so valuable in these open in-game fights. For E-Arena, astounding performance. 4 alive. We cannot discredit how amazing that is, getting pincered between R8, having APG also moving in on you. The fact that they move out with 4 is something I was not expecting. If Joker can somehow, some way get on top of this roof and look down on Alpha 7, E-Arena could make a play of a lifetime and push even deeper into zone, but he's already taken damage from the distance.
That's Alter Ego, and even with that high ground advantage, you just can't take those angles. The shape of the terrain just doesn't allow it. They try and go for this crash. Alpha 7 have such a strong hold, and Carrillo's holding face against 2, finds them, and immediately shuts them down. Mormon in the smoke, and Carrillo retreats a little bit closer towards his teammates, but he's hopping out. He's getting bold. The weapon swap's there, and the team of E-Arena are falling. Joker with a nade, but Carrillo is farming them as they approach.
Oh, but the nade connects on the Carrillo. The farming ends, and Joker becomes the farmer himself, but only for just a little bit. Carrillo should get back onto his feet. And now we are down to our top 4 teams. And finally, Gamax starts to get active. They're getting pushed, and it's Alter Ego.
From the northeast side, Power have managed to move up behind Alter Ego, so it could be dangerous. The ground floor now taken. Moana, Krypton, followed by Rosemary into the ground floor now, pushing Gamax up on high. Molotovs to burn it, to slow things down before they can get this res, though. These nades are going to start to come on through. Healing now being done, and Alter Ego have pressure from the high ground that they have just deserted.
Rosemary bottom left. He's been the highest damage dealer so far. Krypton as well, to be a great courtesy to Rosemary's performance. Gamax getting pieced apart, but Arthur wants to stop the bleeding. He wants to put Alter Egos into the grave. But will it be possible? I don't know. You got Rosemary, the top dog, and Krypton down below, and he's hugging a corner. He's hugging it tight. But the question is, does Gamax give up their high ground? They're on the second floor. I don't think they do, but Arthur is burning, but only for a little bit.
He has that first aid. Nades being poured over towards Alpha 7, huddled behind the checkpoint. How are they finding these hiding places? I don't know. Carrillo fully flushed out. The nades keep going, and Power are putting more and more pressure on as time goes on. Gamax, they're not out of it just yet. They've managed to extract some value out of Alter Ego, but they will finally fall. Alpha 7 are next to go down, and Power now have it all to do. They've got 4 players alive if they get this res, and Alter Ego on 3.
And they have the hovercraft as well. We cannot discredit how powerful that might be in this end zone, but it's hovercraft versus hardcover POI. Alter Ego's areas, 15 eliminations. 15, absolute insanity. We've been singing their praises. We've been talking about how amazing Rosemary is and how great this roster might be in the finals. Could they be consistent from yesterday to today? Well, game 1 gave us a bit of a fright. Maybe they're starting to slow down, but game 2, they shut us right up with 15 elims, now top 2 going for gold.
And Krypton is ahead of them, the tip of the spear. He is the top fragger right now. He's been doing a lot of work coming in on today, and he has still got a little bit more gas left in the tank. Over to Easy, Krypton and Moana. Moana goes down, and Krypton falls next. A nice hold there along the sight lines for power, and it's all up to the man himself. It's Rosemary with a chance to prove that he could take a 1v4. Sure, it might be against Power, but it would be legendary. Unfortunately, it's not to be, and Power managed to leave Milta in the chaos, move in behind Alter Ego, and they take a chicken dinner.
9 eliminations, mind you. A big difference from the Power that we've been seeing in the previous days. Power takes the first win of the day for themselves. Of course, game number 2, but you cannot discredit how amazing Alter Ego's areas are to snap back from game number 1 into game 2. But Power, a roster that I expect a lot from. They've been on the minds of the desk. They've been on the minds of the talent. Finally, they performed the way we were expecting.
There he is, the man himself. Haji, looking hell happy. We love it. We love it. And we are, of course, going to see how that's going to affect the standings. But I think another big story on this is, of course, Alter Ego. 15 elims, second place. That's going to give them 21 points. They kicked off the game on 78, which is going to put them up at 100. Is that? No, not quite.
Not quite.
Just about on the cusp of breaking into the triple digits.
Yeah, well, you know, the thing is, pretty much top 8 already guaranteed, right? Coming out from the team of Alter Egos. They want to catch 4th thrives. They want to be in first place, and the opportunity is there because we're still talking. You said it, right? Going into Sanhok, there's a lot of money on the line that we haven't talked about as much. What, $80,000? So you want to definitely secure that, give you a little bit of a confidence boost heading in to the finals. Game number 2 has concluded. We've still got plenty more to go. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, game 3 coming your way.